Unlocking your inner gold mine, from broke firefighter to financial freedom. Let's be honest, you're probably already sitting on a gold mine, a wealth of potential you haven't even tapped. It's not about money or luck, it's a mindset shift, a 10-minute epiphany away. Imagine discovering the untapped riches within you, a treasure chest you've carried since birth. I used to think I was doing okay. Comfortable, not rich, but not struggling. A steady paycheck covered the basics, food, shelter, the usual. I bought into the lie that this was all life offered. But a nagging feeling persisted, a low-level hum of dissatisfaction. Days bled into weeks, a soul-crushing cycle of wake up, work, bills, sleep, repeat. You know the feeling, that whisper in your ear, suggesting you could be doing more, achieving more, but somehow, you're not. My life as a Toronto firefighter looked stable from the outside. The reality? I was miserable, unhealthy, and drowning in debt. My annual income barely topped $4,000, while my debts hovered around $6,000. I was borrowing just to keep my car running, and worst of all, I didn't even see it as a problem. I thought it was normal, everyone's reality. Until someone hit me with a truth bomb: if your life isn't going where you want it to go, it's inevitably going the opposite way. That statement landed like a punch to the gut. It shattered my complacency. My stability wasn't security, it was stagnation. Stagnation is, effectively, regression. Things are either growing or decaying, there's no neutral. Most people get comfortable, nestled in their cracked foundations, thinking, it'll do. But cracks widen, structures crumble, and one day, the whole thing collapses. That's what happens when we stop pushing ourselves. We become vulnerable, not to bad luck, but to our own inaction. I faced the music, my lifestyle wasn't working. And maybe yours isn't either. How many opportunities have you missed, paralyzed by fear? How many times have you settled, avoiding the discomfort of change? Discomfort, I learned, is the price of growth. Without it, we don't expand our potential, we don't discover our capabilities. My transformation began with a single step. I didn't need a detailed roadmap, just the first step. Breaking free doesn't mean abandoning everything, just taking small steps towards growth. For me, it started with a recommended book, each page a sledgehammer shattering the mental walls I'd built. I realized the biggest danger wasn't failure, it was settling for less than you're capable of. It's waking up to the same routine, feeling safe while drifting further from your true potential. The question you need to answer is this: you truly living, or merely existing, comfortable while time slips away? Because if your life isn't going in the direction you want, it's heading the opposite way, and the power to change that resides within you. Building a house without a blueprint results in crooked walls, misplaced doors, and a roof that collapses in the first strong wind. Most people build their lives this way, without a plan, a vision of what they want. They wake up, do the same thing, and expect different results. But the mind doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. This hit home when I wrote down my goals for the first time. On a simple card, I wrote that by January 1, 1970, I'd have $25,000. I had no strategy, no influential connections, no self-belief. But I wrote it down. I carried that card, rereading those words constantly. At first, it felt like a blatant lie. An inner voice scoffed, "Who do you think you are?" But something extraordinary happened. Gradually, I stopped just reading the words. I started believing them. And when you believe, your behavior changes. You act differently, you spot opportunities you missed before, you make small decisions that unlock big doors. It wasn't the money itself, it was the crystal clear mental image shaping my reality. My mind was a projector, and that goal was the film I played daily. At first, the screen was blank. Then, the image gained color, detail, life. And, before I knew it, that phrase on a card manifested in my life. Most people wait for all the answers before they start. You don't need to know how just define what you want clearly, and keep that vision alive. That's more powerful than any perfect plan, because a strong mental image attracts unexpected ideas, resources, and people. Your brain works through images. If you don't create the image of what you want, it replays the image of the life you already have. And that means more of the same. By projecting a new scenario, your mind consciously and unconsciously seeks ways to make it real. Your entire internal system works silently to align your actions with your visualization. My transformation was profound. A year after writing the card, my income had exploded beyond my wildest expectations. This wasn't coincidence or luck. I planted a specific image in my mind and nurtured it daily with focus and faith. If you lack clarity, that's your first step. Choose something that moves you. Write it down. Visualize it. Feel it. And don't abandon that image, even if it seems impossible. Because by keeping that vision alive, the path begins to form beneath your feet even if you can't see it yet. For a long time, I saw money as something distant, a privilege for the few. It felt like an unforgiving judge, deciding who deserved it, and I didn't believe I was worthy. This limited not only my bank account, but my choices. Until I understood something that changed my relationship with prosperity: money isn't my master, it's my servant. Think about it. Money has no will of its own, it doesn't think or feel. It's a neutral tool that responds to how you treat it. If you see it as scarce and hard to come by, it will be scarce and distant in your life. But if you see it as an ally, a resource to amplify your work, it flows more naturally. I learned to imagine money as a messenger I send to accomplish tasks where I can't be. Without it, my ability to serve the world is limited to my time and presence. With it, I can do more, help people far away, invest in causes I believe in, create businesses that generate opportunities for others. The question wasn't, how much money do I have, but what can I do with the money I attract? Most people reverse this relationship. They put themselves in the position of servant, working tirelessly for money as if it were a demanding boss. They chase it, and when they get it, they spend it quickly, fearing loss and, ironically, losing it. This is the scarcity mindset, creating a cycle of anxiety and frustration. The shift happens when you position yourself as the master. This isn't arrogance, but awareness. It's knowing that you give the orders and define money's purpose in your life. It doesn't dictate how you live, you decide how it's used to support your vision. I started seeing money as an extension of my creativity, not a burden or threat. I remember a time when, even earning more, I felt stressed about bills. It wasn't a lack of income, it was a lack of a prosperous mindset. Incoming money was treated as fragile, something to be tightly guarded. Until I decided to change its meaning for me, from something to be feared and protected to something to be multiplied and directed towards my purpose. Once this vision solidified, decisions became easier. Investing in knowledge, projects, people ceased being spending and became planting seeds for the future. And, curiously, when I stopped seeing money as something that slips away, it started to stay. Not through magic, but because my actions reflected this new awareness. Money is neither good nor bad. It simply amplifies what you already are. If you're generous, it amplifies your generosity. If you're insecure, it amplifies your fears. Learning to lead this relationship is crucial. It's not about chasing money, it's about creating a life so aligned with your desires that money naturally flows to support that journey. I see brilliant, talented people with immense potential living far below their means. Why? Because they confuse knowing with doing. Knowledge is important, but alone, it changes nothing. You can spend years studying finance, reading about investments, attending seminars, and still be in the red, life on hold. The difference is application, consistent and deliberate action. I learned this the hard way. Reading, Think and Grow Rich didn't magically multiply my bank balance. It opened my eyes, but nothing happened until I started putting it into practice daily, even without fully understanding it all. I didn't wait to know enough to act, because that day never comes. There will always be something you don't know. There will always be an excuse to delay. And that waiting for the perfect moment stops most people from moving forward. It's like joining a gym and spending hours reading about workouts, studying muscles, but never lifting a weight. Unused knowledge becomes dead weight in the mind. It takes up space, creates the illusion of progress, but generates no results. The body changes when you commit to the practice. Life works the same way. I remember a period where I knew exactly what I needed to do to increase my income, get more clients, improve my communication, expand my services. But for weeks, I revised plans, tweaked details, chasing perfection before acting. The result? Nothing. Only when I started acting, despite fear and insecurity, did doors begin to open. And the interesting thing is that many things I thought I needed to learn more about before attempting, I learned by doing. People mistakenly believe they need motivation to act. But action generates motivation. Movement creates energy, clarity, and confidence. When you stand still, overthinking, you feed doubt and insecurity. It's like trying to drive a car with the engine off. You can turn the wheel, but you won't go anywhere. I've seen entrepreneurs fail, not for lack of knowledge, but for lack of execution. And I've seen people with no degrees, no resources, create fortunes simply because they decided to act before having all the answers. That's the difference. It's not what you know, it's what you do with what you know. From that point on, my focus shifted. I asked myself daily, what am I going to apply today from what I already know? And surprisingly, I realized I had far more tools than I imagined. I didn't need to wait to learn something new to take the next step. I just needed to take the step. Perhaps you now have enough information to transform your life. The question is, you using what you already know, or merely accumulating knowledge, waiting for the ideal moment? Because if you don't turn knowing into doing, what you know is useless. If there's one element that clearly separates those who achieve great things from those who repeat the same results, it's persistence. I've seen incredible talent fail because they gave up too soon. And I've seen ordinary people achieve extraordinary results simply by refusing to quit. Persistence is like a muscle, the more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. And, like at the gym, it might hurt at first. It might feel heavy, but if you keep going, the strength emerges. My journey wasn't all victories. Before achieving consistent results, I failed countless times. Businesses failed, proposals were rejected, goals seemed impossible. But every time I considered giving up, I remembered that every great achievement I admired had a history of resilience. Think of Thomas Edison, who failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb, or Henry Ford, who went bankrupt twice before revolutionizing the auto industry. I remember an 11-year-old boy who attended one of my seminars. He'd been diagnosed with a learning disability and believed he could never compete with his peers. I told him that if he truly believed in something and worked towards it daily, he could achieve any goal. 10 years later, I received a letter from him. He had graduated at the top of his university class. It didn't happen because someone chose him or because life was easier. It happened because, even on bad days, he stayed committed to his goal. Persistence isn't about having motivation all the time. It's about staying the course when motivation fades. On days when everything seems against you, when circumstances scream for you to give up, that's when you build the strength that will sustain your success. Persistence creates an invisible accumulation of progress. Often, you don't see immediate results, but something is happening beneath the surface. It's like planting a seed. For weeks, you see nothing above ground, but beneath, roots are forming, strengthening to support future growth. That's how I define my most important goals, not worrying about the immediate how, but committing to daily action. I knew that if I took one step every day, however small, sooner or later, the results would have to appear. It's a matter of law, not mystically, but practically. Continuous, focused effort inevitably produces results. So, when someone asks me the secret to inner and outer wealth, I answer, define a goal that truly moves you, commit to it, and refuse to give up. Because in the end, it's not the smartest or the most talented who win. It's the one who simply keeps going when others stop. I learned that one of the most powerful skills anyone can develop is the ability to make quick, decisive decisions. It seems simple, but indecision is a major thief of energy and opportunity. When you hesitate, the world doesn't wait for you to decide. Other, more agile people seize the opportunities that could have been yours. And contrary to popular belief, it's not the perfect decision that changes lives, it's the courage to decide and commit to the chosen path. I've lost valuable opportunities by hesitating too much. I remember being presented with a promising business opportunity. I spent weeks thinking, seeking everyone's opinion, trying to predict every risk, every detail. I took so long that someone else grabbed the idea, and months later, they were reaping impressive results that could have been mine. It was a hard, but necessary lesson. I started noticing a pattern among successful people. They made decisions based on the clarity of the goal, not the complete absence of risk. And when they decided, they acted with conviction, without looking back. This doesn't mean acting impulsively, but understanding that perfect decisions don't exist. There will always be uncertainty, but if you don't move, you stay exactly where you are. Harvard Business Review research shows that leaders who make faster decisions tend to achieve better long-term results, even if they need to adjust course later. This is because movement generates new information, new connections, and new opportunities. It's like sailing a boat. You can adjust your direction as you navigate, but you don't leave the harbor if you don't pull up the anchor. I started applying this in practice. When I have an idea that aligns with my goals, I ask myself, does this move me closer to or further from my goal? If the answer is closer, I decide immediately and take the first step. It could be a phone call, an email, a meeting. The size of the step doesn't matter, what matters is maintaining momentum. This shift in attitude created a cascading effect. By making faster decisions, I attracted more opportunities. People started seeing me as someone who acted, not just talked. Building confidence is a marathon, not a sprint. I've learned that even when things don't go as planned, taking action always beats inaction. Waiting for all the answers before making a move. That's a surefire way to miss out on incredible opportunities. You've got to leap, adjust your course mid-flight, and keep your eye on the prize. Life rewards action, not endless overthinking. Persistence isn't just about plowing through setbacks, it's about sticking with it when progress feels glacial, when the world seems deaf to your efforts. Success is easy when it comes quickly, but the real test is enduring the long haul, because let's face it, the long haul is almost always the reality. I've been there, pouring my heart and soul into something, studying, learning, applying everything I know, and seeing nothing to show for it. The urge to quit? It's overwhelming. Your brain starts whispering doubts, maybe this isn't for you, maybe you're wasting your time. But that's precisely where most people give up, and that's where you separate yourself from the pack. Persistence isn't stubbornness, it's a conscious choice to keep adjusting your approach until you reach your summit. Think of climbing a mountain, you rest, regroup, maybe even backtrack, but you never lose sight of the peak. Every attempt, even the ones that seem like failures, teaches you something crucial for the next challenge. One project took me years. I initially thought a few months of hard work would do the trick. Instead, it was a series of small wins, adjustments, setbacks, and renewed efforts. If I'd quit after 2 years, I'd still be clinging to the delusion that it wasn't possible, when, in reality, I was just steps away from a breakthrough. It's amazing how, with enough persistence, the universe seems to conspire in your favor. The right people show up, resources materialize, opportunities that once felt a million miles away suddenly become reality. It's not luck, it's the culmination of months, even years, of quiet, unseen work laying the groundwork for something magnificent. Research shows success is far more about grit than raw talent. Angela Duckworth's work on grit demonstrates that persistent people overcome obstacles not because they are smarter, but because they refuse to give up. The more you cultivate this resilience, the more second nature it becomes. Persistence is choosing the long game in a world obsessed with instant gratification. It's understanding that lasting results take time and consistency. It's tolerating temporary frustration for a much bigger payoff down the line. And when you finally reach that goal, you'll realize it wasn't just the achievement itself that mattered, but the person you became along the way. No matter how ambitious your goal, how far-fetched it seems, if you commit to it and refuse to give up, you will get there. And it won't just be an external victory, you'll be stronger, more resilient, and more confident to tackle anything else life throws your way. Ready to dive deeper into this and level up your wisdom? Check out the next video on screen. We'll explore this further and work towards making you just a little bit better than you are right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.